My name is Robert Trio, and I currently serve as the project officer for technology for the Hong Kong Maritime Museum. One of the things that I'll put in context about my presentation this morning is that Sarah mentioned that there may be many institutions that are here today that are thinking about stepping into the mobile pool. And especially with a presentation like Linda's, where there are so many things and so many possibilities, it may be difficult to know where to start. So for this particular presentation, I will tell you a little bit about the strategy that I took at the Maritime Museum, considering the human resources and the financial resources that we had at hand. In an effort for us all to be on the same page, I want to talk a little bit about what is mobile web, and perhaps most importantly, what mobile web isn't. The first thing is that a mobile web is a subdomain of your main website. And if you spend any time on a website, sometimes you often see at the beginning of the URL an M, a letter M, or the word mobile. Essentially, this is a subsection of your main domain. That kind of doesn't sound right, but it is. The second thing is that the mobile web is activated through your browser. It is not an application. So an individual does not have to actually download content to the smartphone device. The only way to access this information is to have that internet connection. One of the things that appealed to me by going with a mobile strategy, like Linda mentioned, is that this is not dependent on a specific platform. It works on the iPhone, it works on the multiple number of Android platforms, and there is any smartphone or device that has a browser that connects to the internet, this will work on. Specifically, mobile web is a web page which is specifically templated in order to fit onto a smaller device which can be held in the hand. And last but not least, the mobile web is directly drawn from the content of the web content management system, which is very important because if you're creating a page for your website, essentially you don't have to create the content twice. You populate your content management system and then it appears on both the mobile website and your main website. And I'll show you an example of that a little later. To begin with, this was the website of the Hong Kong Maritime Museum when I first started with them about 2 years ago. And the director of the museum said something to the effect of, "Robert, this is a dog's breakfast and we need to change it." And I said, "I have no idea what you mean by a dog's breakfast." As an American in Hong Kong, I knew there would be cultural differences that I had to cross. I didn't realize that I would have to be dealing with an Australian. That was the cultural difference. You're lovely people, but we are different in many ways. The struggle with the website at that time was that it was heavily driven by Flash. For example, when you went to the website, this ship actually turned and then it transformed into a tanker. As many of you know, this is not a good format for a mobile website. If you went to the Maritime Museum's website with a mobile device, you would get a blank page because it can't read the Flash properly. So envisioning a new website, essentially we started anew and had to begin by creating a content management system. This is a little bit about the strategy that I went about thinking about for creating the mobile website for the museum. First of all, I thought I want to put content and create content specifically for a user on the go. The museum has been very fortunate to have a large number of people who are traveling to Hong Kong come to the museum, and they may have very special needs as they're walking down Central, which are different than somebody who may be sitting at a desktop or a laptop at home or at the office. I always wanted to make sure that if a person did want to go to the main website, however, that it was always a choice. So they were not stuck in mobile world if they went there. Third, the information for the mobile website is specifically formatted for a small device that can be held in the hand, and it is condensed information, which means I don't choose to put everything on the main website also on the mobile website. As I mentioned before, all the content is created from the web content management system, so I don't have to create the content twice. And last but not least, I knew that someday down the road, we're going to want to do things exciting like what Linda was talking about. So the mobile website had to grow with the museum in time. The specifications of the mobile website, I'm going to talk about two aspects. The first is the content management system. And it is as simple as a yes-no question. When I create a page on the back end, such as this one, which focuses on a conservator that is helping the museum currently, I essentially say I want this to be on the main website and I want this to be on the mobile website. And that's all I have to do. It's a yes-no question. The second, perhaps most important part of the mobile experience is what is commonly referred to as a sniffer. If you have a computer, this is one of the times that I would encourage you to start your computer. And if you would like to, you can enter the museum's URL address at this time. Hopefully this won't crash the system. But essentially, there are two things that happen when you press the return key and go to the URL. The first is that the sniffer detects what type of browser you are using. If you are going to our website with a mobile browser, it knows that, opposed to a desktop or a laptop browser or a tablet browser. The second thing which is happening, it is detecting what language you are using. So if you are using an English browser, it will send you to the English website. If you're using a Chinese browser, it will send you to the Chinese site. And this was very important because as our main URL, we didn't want to say our main website is English or our main website is Chinese. Our main website is based on you, the user. So essentially, this is where the divide happens. If you have a mobile device, hopefully you are seeing the image which is on the left. And if you are at a laptop or a tablet, you are seeing our museum, which is on the right. This is the museum's redesigned website. It's based on a classic style that you see a lot in museums around the world. And one of the issues that, just as an example, is here on the front page, it says you can go to the library catalog and search the thousands of books which are in the resource center. I'm making somewhat of a judgment call where I'm saying if you are walking down the street and you're on vacation, more than likely you are not going to want to look at the OPAC of the Maritime Museum. Maybe you do, I don't know. You can always choose to go to the main site, but essentially sections such as the main site, such as the OPAC, are not a part of the mobile experience. So this is what the mobile looks like on the home page. It's designed for the user on the go. They can choose the language. If it improperly sent you to the wrong site, you can choose the main site. The mobile website focuses on things such as directions. I created a special Google map with the museum's logo that can be activated with touch. And I have a special web page which is designed to clue the visitor into what is happening at the museum. It's tied to our events calendar. Just essentially a side-by-side comparison. This is the article about Stephen Fung, who helped us at the museum, on the main webpage. This is how it appears on the mobile webpage. Same content, just formatted in two different ways. Let me wrap up by saying that essentially the area of growth for the museum is to start thinking about greater interpretation in the galleries. With the mobile website already in place, we can include an audio tour, video tour, and much more content. But those are things that are still to come. Thank you very much for your time. And essentially, my closing idea is that we are one institution, two websites.